Hi everyone, this is Priyanka working as Assistant Professor in SNS College of Engineering. Today in our lecture series we are just going to see about the authentication. Authentication in general, it is the process of verifying the identity of a user or a device or system. It ensures that only authorized individuals can access certain data or services. Here another thing is a weak authentication. Weak authentication, it mainly occurs when the methods used for this verification are inadequate, in which it is used for the system vulnerable of the attack. Next comes the characteristics of weak authentication. Coming to the characteristics of weak authentication, it is simple password, no MFA, then no account logout, plain text transformation, and default or shared credential. Coming to simple password. In the case of simple password, it is easy to guess or crack. That is, if suppose example a password is 123456, it is easy to guess. In case some will keep the password as password itself. Next is no MFA. No MFA means only one factor, that is like a password. It is required, making it easier for attackers. No account lockout. It means unlimited login attempts allow brute force attack. Next comes the plain text transformation. Here it is mainly used for the passwords that sends over the unencrypted channels. Next comes the default or shared credential. In this case, it is mainly used as a common in devices or software with uncharged factory settings. Next comes examples of weak authentication. These are all some of the examples of the weak authentication, that is websites, then IoT devices. Then here some of the applications will be used for outdating the hashing algorithm, and then it comes the basic authentication over HTTP where usernames and passwords can be intercepted. Next comes the risk and consequences. In the case of the risk and consequences, first is unauthorized access. In the case of the unauthorized access, here the attackers they can impersonate legitimate users. Next comes the data breach. In this case, here sensitive data can be stolen or exposed. Next comes the account takeover. In this case, here the attackers they gain control over or used account. Next comes the system compromise. In this case, here full control of the systems, especially if the admin which accounts are affected here. In the case of the system compromises. Next comes the reputational and legal consequences. In this case, for business, this could lead to loss of trust and law units. Next come some of the mitigation strategies. In the case of the mitigation strategies, first of all, it is the strong password policies. In this case, strong password policies here, minimum length, complexity and no reuse should be followed here. Next comes the use of multi-factor authentication. Here it combines something you know, that is password, something you have, that is your OTP, or something you are, that is your fingerprint. All these comes under the MFA. Next is session and login monitoring. In this case, it mainly consists of detects suspicious login attempts. In this case, at last, accounts log up after multiple logins. And finally, educate users. In this case, educate users on it is a secured login practices which involves the secure. Educate users. Now let us see the strong versus weak authentication. Here some of the features are password strength, MFA, session timeout, encryption. These are the features. In the case of weak authentication, password strength is weak and simple, whereas in strong it is strong and complex. MFA in weak authentication it is no, whereas in strong authentication it is yes. Session timeout in weak authentication it is none, in strong authentication it is active. Encryption. In weak authentication it is no, whereas in strong authentication it is yes. Next comes the finally conclusion. In the case of the conclusion, here weak authentication, it has major cybersecurity risks. Some of the risks which is evolved here is the weak authentication. Next, in the case of the attackers, they mainly exploits the poor that is login security in which it can be access some systems and the datas. And then finally, we can organization. It must mainly adopt strong or modern authentication techniques to avoid all those security issues. Thank you.